Hi everyone, welcome to the Seizing Wonder Challenge info session. So I'm the director of Seizing Wonder Challenge. I'm happy to present you what this challenge is about. So very first thing, why think differently and why is thinking so important? In an era of AI with so many AI agents that's going to replace the work that we do. Now our brain is finally have the capacity to think broadly, innovate, create. So it's a new era for everyone. So why did we start this? So I'm the founder of Twin Oaks Education. It's a education innovator that specializes in the global project-based learning design. I'm also an alumni from MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US, and also graduated from National Taiwan University and Taipei First Girls High School. I've been partnering with Dr. Flossie Chua. She is the principal investigator in Harvard Project Zero. She's from Singapore and grew up in Singapore before she moved to the US. So both of us have a very clear and deep understanding about how the Asian culture looks like and how we being so diligent and hardworking. And a lot of time, those hardworking just worn out our curiosity about the world. But without the curiosity and our eager to innovate, it's really hard to bring our diligence and our power into more meaningful things. And we do want to see more creative, innovative, influential things coming out from Asia. So this whole project and this whole challenge, the goal is to really revive the mind for more and more Asian students. And we hope that this could be a key to unlock everyone's potential. So what is seizing wonder? So C is a very critical part of the thinking routine, seizing wonder. We want everyone to start to look closely and look slowly to really become an observant person about the things around you because everything kind of sends you a signal about what's going on. Then you can master the skills about think. It's basically making interpretation of what you have observed around you. Lastly, wonder is to go beyond the surface based on what you have think about and what you have seen. So it could be the innovation idea, it could be you form a hypothesis for your scientific research. Basically, this thinking routine, see, think, wonder, is something that Harvard Project Zero has developed over 50 years ago. It found that this is a very typical thinking routine for people to think very vibrantly and really start to be curious and start to ask questions and start to create something. So this is why we think this is a very critical thinking routine. We hope that more and more people will see and use it. So can I will just give you a quick example about a very simple object. You can see this red apple. If you really just take a quick look at it, you'll probably say, hey, I see an apple. But if you really want to look at the details, you will say, I actually see a fresh leaf on top of the apple. I can see that the apple have a very nice red skins with some yellow lines. And we can also say that the redness of the apple is actually pretty evenly distributed. And you can also see some light reflecting on the top right of the apple. And this shape is almost like a perfect sphere. And with these detailed observations, you probably start to categorize and group that there seems to be some common theme. This seems to be a feature that seems like an attractive apple. And why is that? Maybe it's because this apple has been chosen for a photo shooting. So you can also already see that the power of seizing wonder is to empower you to become something like a detective that you will be able to interpret and also make the best use of the observation you have seen in the world. The more you can see, the more interpretation and more ideas you have. So if you really want to revive your mind, become someone who can really make a change, the more observant you are, the more likely that you can get the hint around you. You don't really have to be great to start. You have to start to be great. So that's why we always encourage you, whoever wanted to revive your mind, practice a new thinking routines, a new thinking skill set, or if you already know the thinking routine, but you want to use it in actual life, it is a challenge that you shouldn't miss. So how does the challenge work? Let me introduce you our quick 1.5 minute video. So we will show you this video very quickly so you can get a quick sense about what this is.
Embark on a journey of discovery and innovation. The See Think Wonder Challenge is an international challenge rooted in Harvard thinking routines, which sparks curiosity and cultivates critical thinking. Designed for students aged 15 to 18, this challenge empowers you to see the world through a new lens. Now in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Singapore, partner with industry leaders and make a real-world impact. Let's embark on this journey through 2 stages, Qualification Challenge and Real Case Challenge. The Qualification Challenge is your first step with 2 online rounds. In the first round, observe and compare images to discern the changes in underlying human necessities over the past century. In the final round, analyze scenes from different nations and learn from global perspectives. Each round will challenge you to think critically and creatively. You will receive a gold, silver, or bronze thinking certificate based on your performance. If you are qualified to join Real Case Challenge, you will advance to the 3-day hackathon hosted in Taipei City. This will be a team-based case competition. You will talk to corporate leaders to dive into the topic you research on. Dive into case studies, develop innovative solutions, and pitch your ideas directly to corporations. This is a rare chance for high school students to practice Harvard thinking routines, apply these skills to create innovations, and interact with real-world corporate leaders.
不要让教室成为你的全世界，
让全世界成为你的教室。
你不需要很厉害才能开始，你需要开始才能很厉害。
Don't miss this opportunity. Join us. Revive your mind and shape the future.
Okay, as you can see, there will be 2 big chunks of this challenge. So very first one is the qualification challenge. This is an individual-based challenge. So basically, everyone individually, even you're not from the school team, can join this part. And the purpose of this part is to really cultivate everyone's basic skill of this thinking routines. We want you to grow these habits of careful observation and evidence-based reasoning. So the very first round will be hosted right after the Christmas on December 27th to 28th. The online website is where you will do this challenge on, will be open throughout the weekend, but you only have to spend 1 to 2 hours to finish your challenge online. So basically, you can choose whenever it's more convenient for you to join the online session and finish your task. It's usually about a 100 years invention exhibit. Basically, we want you to compare and observe what has the human beings' innovation look like in the past 100 years, and what are the changes, and why do you think they change it that way? And in the final round of the qualification, it's hosted on January 24th to January 25th. Again, it's an online session, and it will be open for the whole weekend. You only have to spend like 2 to 3 hours to finish that. This time you will observe scenes from different countries. So you will do a cross-country observation. If you do well and you're being advanced to the top 100 players across among all the players, and you're also age 15 to 18, you will be able to advance to the Real Case Challenge. This challenge will be a team-based challenge. We would firstly do online interviews for all the participants. It takes about 15 to 30 minutes. It will be hosted on March 21st. Again, this is an online session. This part is to really test your real-time responses to the seizing wonder skills. Because we know that although in the AI era, everyone's worried that how are we going to prevent someone using the AI tool? We actually see AI as a facilitating a tool for us. So in the qualification round, we will show you how we would like you to collaborate with AI to broaden the way you observe things. However, we wanted to really exercise and knows your actual abilities and capability to do this seizing wonder skills. So we will have these online interviews to test your real-time responses to how you observe and how you make interpretation. And if your team has passed the online interviews, you'll be advanced to the hackathon, which will be hosted in Taipei City for 3 days on April 24th to April 26th. This is a time that you're walking into actual scenes to observe and crack a real world problem set and use your creativity and your evidence-based proposal skills to come up with something good to solve the problem. So let me give much more details here. So for the qualification rounds, it will be conducted online, but you can choose either English or Chinese to finish your task. It takes 1 to 2 hours, like I mentioned earlier. You can come and complete the task anytime when the website is open. So how do you know whether the website is open and when will you receive the website link? We will send you the website link 1 day before the session starts. So on December 26th, you will receive the link before 6 p.m. And right through the midnight, the official session will be open and you can start to do it within that 28 hours. And the session website will be closed on December 28th. We highly recommend you to use computers or laptop because we completely understand that the observation quality or how the website jumped from one screen to the other doesn't work that well on mobile phone or tablets. That's why we highly recommend you to use the computer and laptop. In this round, there will only be pass or fail. There will be no score, no ranking, it's just pass or fail. So basically, this is a round to warm up, and we really want everyone to pass. So that's why I'm going to share with you a few tips. The tips for this round is to write down as many observations as possible. The more, the better. One thing we want to really differentiate some of the things that you really observe and some of the things that you assume you observe or the things you actually already move on to the interpretation part. So that's why the tips is that the thing you observe is the thing you can point with your fingers on the image. That is what we mean by observe. This is a very critical skill, even though it sounds like very trivial. The importance of it is that you can imagine if you are developing a scientific experiment, you really want to differentiate what is the actual facts you observe versus the interpretation you have in your mind. Because the interpretation on untested information, while the facts are something that's already been given, that's almost like 100% true. So we want you to be able to differentiate the two. That is a fundamental to guarantee your success for your future evidence-based proposal. Okay, so what does that actually mean? So here you can see one of the example we did in the past challenge. So this, you can see a toaster that's been invented 100 years ago on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side is a toaster that we use nowadays. The rubrics that we use for this round is to write down at least 3 observations. So from this picture, what are the things you see as the things that we've changed over the 100 years? So one thing you probably already observed is that in the past, the toaster doesn't have a cover around the toast. But in the toaster today, we can see that there is a metal cover, a metal case seems to be surrounding around the toast. The other thing is that we observe the new invention has the button. It seems that there are something you can adjust. And also you can see that there seems to be something that you can tune the scale. So there is a clear 3 observations that you can already point out. If you want to go more detail, you can say that for the ancient toaster, it seems to be a ceramic bottom. And you can also observe that there's a racket on top of the toaster for the ancient toaster, which it does not exist for the new one anymore. So that might count as 5 different observation. And there are much more. There are many more you can see from the picture. You can actually see some perfect answers, some great answers on our official website, because every year we will publish some great answer that's being written by the actual participants. So you can definitely find the answer for these on the website. But this is why I wanted to point out the actual observation are something you can point out with your fingers. So if you say that I see the toaster today actually has a charger. Well, unfortunately, we don't really see a charger on the photo, so you can't really make an assumption of that. If you say or if you write something like that, it will not count as one of the observation. Secondly, the things we evaluate is whether you can make a good interpretation based on your observation, meaning you can interpret what you think. For example, the question we ask here is that, why do you think the innovator or the inventor change or make these new functions or make this new change over these years? Why do you think that we make the change based on what you see? So one of the answer you can possibly say is that I will assume that the case around the toaster is to prevent the heat going out from the toaster, because that might be a waste of the energy. We want to be an energy efficient machine, so that's why we think they make a metal case around the toaster. It could be a potential interpretation. It sounds logical. The answer doesn't have to be completely right, but it should be a reasonable interpretation based on what you see. It's like a way to practice your way to stretch your thinking. Okay, that's what we do for the first round. And the last thing is that we want to make sure we know who you are and there's no blank in any of the answer form. So as long as you've hit these 3 criteria, you will be able to advance to the next round. And for the qualification round 2, we call it final round. It is a cross-country observation. So usually you will see a scene that have pictures and videos from different countries. So as you can see here, you might see some in the past we observed what a student cafeteria looked like. So you might see some photos, some videos about the place. So how does it work? Again, it's conducted online. You can choose either English or Chinese to finish it. It takes about 1 to 2 hours to complete, and highly recommend you to use computers and laptop. This time, because you're going to move forward and it's going to be more sophisticated, we will going to evaluate into 4 dimensions around the thinking routines, and we will give the scoring from 1 to 5 for each dimension. The student age 15 and 18 who rank the top 100 globally, you will be eligible to advance to the real case challenge. So again, the online website, we will send you a link 1 day before the session starts, and you have this full 48 hours to finish your task. So in this round, we will test your observation skills into these details. So firstly, you can observe a lot of valuable information, and you can also notice something that is not very common for other people, but somehow only you observed it, and we all recognize this is something that you can point with your fingers on the image. And secondly, all the observations are pretty relevant to the topic that we are researching on, And of course, these are all the things that we can point out on the image. As long as these two criteria fits, you'll score 5 on this dimension. And how do we differentiate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? As long as most of your content, in our definition, 80% of your content fit to this criteria, you will score 5. 80% to 100% scoring 5, 60% to 80% scoring 4, 40% to 60% scoring 3, etc. So it really depends on your overall performance. Does most of your performance hit this criteria? Secondly, for logical inferences, we want you to clearly indicate how your inference is derived from what observation or what common sense. So this is a very clear logical stream that you want to make sure your description is clear enough for the judges to understand you. And you can also connect your observation and common sense into a logical hypothesis about, for example, you can say, I assume the toaster start to use, they start to use some buttons or some dialing adjustment is because now we have more technology to enable some mini changes, some fine changes. So these are logical assumptions based on your observation. And the third dimension is to think critical evaluation. Like I mentioned earlier, the previous round is basically only testing your first 2 dimensions. Some of your interpretation may not be right, but we want to make sure you know your assumption have some flaws, and you also knows how you can validate it. So in this third dimension, we want you to show that you knows your inferences have some shortcomings. Some of the inferences may not have shortcomings, so don't force it. You only point it out when you know that your assumption is not complete or not very solid. And you also know where it needs verifications. And you can probably also mention what other method you will use to substantiate your claim. So this is the third dimension that we were going to evaluate. The fourth dimension is about evidence-based proposal or evidence-based idea. You can outline based on what evidence above or your reasoning that lead to your proposal. The argument should be very clear and easy to follow. And we also want your proposal to consider about various stakeholder, short-term, mid-term, long-term impact, side effect, and all that, so that it's a very comprehensive idea. Because this is a little bit sophisticated, so when you advance to the real case challenge, we will share with you another round of quick training to introduce you with other thinking routines that will help you build up the understanding of multi-stakeholder, time frame, and all the other factors that you should factor in. Okay, so once you finish the qualification round, you will be able to receive a certificate. And this certificate is based on your score in this 4 dimension. If you receive 5 points in all 4 dimensions, you will receive a gold level certificate. If you only receive 5 points for your first and the 2 dimension, but also receive 4 in the 3rd and 4th dimension, you receive the silver certificate. For all 4 dimensions, you can receive 4 points and above, you will receive the bronze level certificate. For rewards, besides the certificate that we mentioned, we also will do some online recognition for outstanding answers. So like I mentioned, you will find that outstanding answer in the previous few years. If you look up our website, you will find some questions for the previous few years. And you can also see some outstanding answers from there. And also, Twin Oaks offer some online courses like communication, how you do self-introduction and all that. For the certificate recipients, you will also receive free courses access to it. And for the real case challenge, if you can, if you win the first place, this is a team-based challenge. If you win the first place, you will receive the flight tickets and full sponsorship for our High Tech High program in 2025-7. And we will also give scholarship for all the hackathon finalists. But for the full sponsorship for High Tech High program in the US, there will only be one recipient. And the recipient it will not necessarily coming from the first place team. It could be anyone that's performing very well among the real case challenge. Okay. Okay, I now let me move back to how the real case challenge work. So the real case challenge, we will firstly do an online interview. We will test all the teams' real-time application for the CC Wonder skills. And then once you finish that and advance to the next round, you will go to the hackathon, which will be held in National Taiwan University. The team may go off-site for some field trip study interviews, but you have to come back on the third day for the presentation. We'll also hosted some evening events for you to network and really meet new friends from different countries and different places. For these rounds, we also evaluate in that 4 dimension I mentioned earlier. And so that's pretty much about it. This rubric will look the same. Okay, so if you want to do some extra and additional exercise on our website, you can see the section called for students. There's some self-learning videos and some practice you can go through. So for the practice, there's a lot of simulation from the actual challenge that we had been through in the past 4 years. So you can go on the website. There are a lot of simulations and also some high quality answer you can refer to. Okay, now some common frequent questions. Firstly, I already answered there are some sample exercise you can practice on. And all the notification about whether you advance to the next round or the final round, all that will be notified through email. So please, please, please give us an email that we can send the message to. And make sure that you got the email correct. All right. And thirdly, if you couldn't participate in the real case challenge, can you receive a certificate? The answer is yes. Yes. The qualification round, you can kind of see it as an independent challenge from the real case challenge. So if you wanted to only join the qualification rounds, you can definitely do so. You will still receive the certificate if you hit the criteria. And also for that round, we do not limit it to only the 15 student age 15 to 18. If you're a student younger than that or older than that, if you're a teacher, you're also welcome to try the qualification round because that purpose is very educational. We hope that you can master those skills through the challenge. And can we participate in hackathon virtually if we cannot attend in person? Unfortunately, no, you have to be there on site because for the hackathon, the real case problem is the actual observation in the real world setting. So you have to be there to be able to observe. And the last question is about the travel, especially if you're an international student to joining this challenge. You have to cover your own flight ticket and the hotel to Taipei. Definitely, if you need some recommendation, our organizing team will be happy to share some tips. Besides these questions, if you have other questions you want to ask, feel free to scan the QR code on the right-hand side. You can also join the online session that we have on November 8th. I would be happy to answer all kinds of questions online, and I will be there with you. So That session will be hosted in a bilingual setting. So if you want to ask the question in English or Chinese, it's all right and all okay. So I will be able to answer in either language. Thank you very much for joining our info session, and I hope you all enjoy our challenge this year.